Hello everyone. So a new vaccine has finally been developed for the pandemic, and it is really big news. We may finally have a normal life again. But the thing is, this new vaccine will take at least a few months to come out to the market, and we should be expecting to the middle of 2021 for the vaccine to actually get distributed to everyone who needs it. So how does the vaccine actually work? Because developing vaccines usually takes a really long time. For example, the TB vaccine took around 10 years to develop properly. So how could we develop the COVID-19 vaccine so quickly? So in this video, I'm going to answer that question and try to give you a little bit of insight of how vaccines are actually made and how the COVID-19 vaccine is different from other types of vaccines. So typically, vaccines are made by manufacturing viral proteins and trying to come up with a way to inject those viral proteins into the human body, whether it is into your shoulder, into your arm, into wherever it is. And so manufacturing those types of vaccines takes a really long time because you have to actually make the viral protein yourself, and that is not an easy process to do. For example, the flu vaccine often uses eggs, like actual chicken eggs, to make the vaccine inside the egg and then extract it, and that is a very time consuming and expensive process, and so it takes a really long time to manufacture the vaccine. You also have to figure out how to make like the viral protein yourselves, and that is also a really time consuming process as well. So it usually takes like a few months for those types of vaccines to be made. So, for example, like the flu vaccine is made every year. But this type of vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, is different because it uses a new method approach using mRNA. Just a quick rundown of what RNA is. RNA is basically a single-stranded version of DNA, although the actual sugar used in DNA is different in RNA, and it uses also a different nucleotide. Instead of thymine, it uses uracil. So overall, RNA comes in many different forms, and the one that we're concerned about is mRNA, which is messenger RNA. Now, this RNA is used specifically by cells to actually code the instructions from the nucleus and send it out to the cell to actually make into proteins. So this type of vaccine works by having the mRNA travel into your cells and manufacturing the viral protein using your own cells, and then the immune system can practice on that to eventually build an immune response against the virus. So this obviously has some benefits. For example, mRNA is much easier to make than the actual proteins themselves. For mRNA, you only have 4 different bases, and you only have 4 different bases, and the ribose sugar that is used in RNA versus proteins you have 20 different amino acids that you have to work with, all in a very complicated sequence, and so the mRNA is significantly easier to manufacture. However, the reason why the mRNA vaccine is relatively new is because the body actually has a resistance towards processing foreign mRNA. Now, this is very useful because if you have viruses in your bloodstream, or like the genetic material of a virus in your bloodstream, it can actually go in and infect cells. You actually need like the whole virus for that, so it provides some sort of defense mechanism. However, if you want to deliver a vaccine with mRNA, that's kind of difficult to do if the body degrades the mRNA. So scientists have come up with a way to actually protect the mRNA, and there are specific ways of doing it by modifying it a little bit so that it travels into your cells and can actually be processed by the cells to make the viral proteins. So once the viral proteins are made, the immune system can actually go and practice on those viral proteins, developing antibodies, and so when you actually encounter a real infection, it won't be maybe you might not even notice the infection because the body has so quickly fought off the infection. One interesting thing that I found about these vaccines is that the Pfizer vaccine has to be stored at really cold temperatures, minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit, and the Moderna vaccine doesn't have to be stored as cold as the Pfizer one. So what is this difference really about? Well, they're both mRNA-based vaccines, so they both have the same idea of delivering mRNA into your cells to actually make the proteins. It's just that the molecules that are used to modify the mRNA are slightly different, and those molecules degrade at higher temperatures because mRNA itself is a really easily degradable molecule, and so in order to preserve it, you need a really low temperature in order to slow down the degradation. of the vaccine. And this is why not just mRNA vaccines, but overall vaccines are usually transported in really cold temperatures, because warming them up can cause some products to degrade. However, the holiday season is approaching, and this vaccine is not going to be ready for use during the holidays. So, if for everyone watching, if you really want to be a part of not continuing this pandemic, I would highly recommend for you to not visit like your relatives, your family members during the holidays. It does feel kind of different and unusual, but this entire year has been different and unusual, and we only have a few more months to go until the vaccine can actually be distributed to everyone. So with that being said, I hope you all stay safe, and I hope you all have enjoy your holidays as much as you can at home safely.